What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Critical Overlord here. In this video, I'm just going to discuss who I think the killer should be in a possible fourth sequel to the original Scream film that Wes Craven directed, Kevin Williamson wrote. The film that kind of brought the horror genre back into relevancy in the late 90s when we were getting a series of bad sequels from the big three, Michael, Freddy, and Jason. Scream kind of put the horror genre back on the map in the late 90s. It kind of revitalized it and saved it from the downward spiral it was on. It was a breath of fresh air at the time of its release. Scream is in fact my favorite horror film. I think I've said that several times on this channel. But I want to get into something in regards to what I would do with Scream 5. That's if Spyglass Media, who is the one, they're the company who are going to be responsible for the upcoming Scream film that we get. Whether or not that's going to be a sequel to Scream 4 or not, that is yet to be seen. But I feel like everything's being tight-lipped and they're going to make a big announcement. It is going to end up being a sequel to Scream 4. I think everything's just kind of being kept under wraps. And the main stars, Neve, Campbell, everybody, David Arquette. I want to kind of just give a shout out to Zach Cherry. I believe I'm saying your name correctly. I apologize if I have not said your name correctly. I don't have it in front of me right now. I also don't have my cell phone by me, which sucks. He has a YouTube channel. He puts out a lot of Scream content. He's the one who kind of put me in this mindset. I think that what a lot of the main stars are doing is they're kind of just downplaying it until Spyglass Media is ready to make an official announcement where they'll announce that Kevin Williamson is back to write. They'll announce the director, and they'll announce the return of the three main stars, Neve Campbell, David Arquette, and Courteney Cox. Beginning into the topic of today's video, if it is in fact a sequel to Scream 4, I think the killer of Scream 5 should be Judy Hicks. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Scream 4, I feel like a lot of people coming out of Scream 4 felt that Judy Hicks was a bit off. They felt that Judy Hicks could be a possible villain in the future, or Judy Hicks herself, she came across as if she was the villain in Scream 4. It's like she was working with the killers or something. Something about her just gave off this vibe, like she has like a history with Sidney or something. And especially that one scene where she's in the dark and she seems kind of bothered that Sidney didn't remember who she was. Now, every time I watch this movie, I'm thinking to myself, why is it that she wants Sidney to remember her so badly? What is it that went on between these two? And then what I started thinking about was the fact of something I came up with, and some other fan scripts and everything. They brought me to this conclusion here, and a theory of mine. Wes Craven revealed in an interview that Neil Prescott had died off screen from a heart attack. What does that have to do with Judy Hicks? I'm going to get into that right now. So in my ideal Scream 5, we find out that Judy Hicks was the one responsible for the death of Neil Prescott. How and why? I'm going to get into that right now. The opening kill of Scream 5, if I were to have it done my way, the opening kill would take place, it would be a flashback, of course, or not a flashback, but just set in a time that Scream 5 itself would not be taking place in. Scream 5, I feel, should be set in the year 2020, the same year as ours. Maybe this flashback or this past sequence that we have to open the movie is set in, since Neil Prescott died in between 2000 and 2010, according to Wes Craven. He died off screen, apparently had a heart attack. Let's put this flashback in 2007, and then perhaps Neil's death, we come to find out, is what actually led Sidney to write that book, Out of Darkness. So Neil Prescott has his heart attack in 2007, and then we come to find out in the opening of this film, we have a rainy night. We have some terrifying music. They set the mood. We zoom into a house. The door is broken, wide open. We go into the house and we see like some glass or shards of glass thrown around on the floor, a few broken pieces of furniture, and in the corner we have a dead Neil Prescott. Now, from there, what is going to happen is the movie will play out, and we come to find out that the person who was responsible for Neil Prescott's death all that time ago was in fact Judy Hicks, and she is the killer in this new Scream film. Now, what is her motive? This is something that I just came up with out of the blue. Judy, let's say that Neil Prescott, when Maureen Prescott had died, let's say that Neil Prescott, he coped in it in the way that was similar to what Maureen did. Maureen slept around, and perhaps Neil, being unable to cope with the loss of his wife, he started sleeping around with a bunch of women in Woodsboro. One of those women ended up being Judy's mother. Now, their relationship, of course, did not end on good terms because Neil realized that sleeping around with this woman was not the way to cope with the loss of his wife. All those times he was telling Sidney he was going out of town for business, he was going out of town, but he would come back early sometimes to meet up with Judy's mother and these other women he was having an affair with to get over the loss of his wife. But he comes to his senses, realizes this isn't a good way to cope. He leaves Judy's wife. Now, Judy's wife, we come to find out Judy's wife had actually, or Judy's mom rather, Judy's mother had lost her husband a few years prior, so her and Neil kind of just bonded off of their own grieving still. She's still in the grieving process as well, all these years later. And Neil kind of was like a safe spot for her. He made her feel alive again. He brought that happiness back to her. And then the second he leaves, that's when she finally goes off the deep end entirely. Her health deteriorates. She was already unhinged and a little bit off over the death of her husband still so many years later. And then to have her heart broken by another man, it kind of just sets her off the deep end. Not even that. It's just the fact that she has a lot of health issues that arose from the loss of her husband. And then those health issues are only heightened when it seems like another man is leaving her. Nobody wants her. Her health deteriorates. Judy's life is, of course, affected by this because she lives with the woman. And then, of course, all this stress and all this bad turmoil going on with Judy's mother leads to Judy's mother passing away when Judy's in high school. Now, Judy knew Neil Prescott was having an affair with her mother. She never addresses Sidney about this because her and Sidney were not close in high school. The only thing that we know occurred with these two is that they were in a play, a Peter Pan play. But we come to find out later on in the film that Judy actually always had a grudge against Neil Prescott. Couldn't bring herself to confront him about it though until 2007. So she arranged a time to go meet him. He agreed, and when she went over, they talked, they discussed. She came out to him about how she feels that he ruined her childhood because of the fact that she lost her mother because of his inability to cope with his own wife's passing, and then taking it out on a woman who was already grieving, and then sent her off the deep end, which then affected Judy's life and then led to her mother passing away from it all. Now, the death of a loved one, everyone copes differently. So Judy's mother, of course, did not cope well with the passing of her husband, and then that combined with Neil Prescott, who was kind of like a safe zone to make her forget about all that, that just kind of set everything off, and everything was downward from that point. When Neil finally came to his senses, Judy's mother unfortunately did not, because she was already too far gone, given the fact that she was already a little bit mentally off from the passing of her husband. So with all that in mind, Judy blames Neil Prescott for the passing of her mom, and she wants Neil Prescott to just basically suffer at this point. Not only is she willing to go confront him now at this point, but she came there to kill him. But before she got a chance to kill him, she pulls a knife out on him or something. Neil is overwhelmed with so much emotion and so much fear in regards to what Judy is about to do to him. He's about to lose his life. He ends up having a heart attack from it. Judy never gets to do anything, and that's why nothing was ever investigated. Judy didn't directly kill Neil Prescott, but she was the cause of his heart attack. She was the cause of his heart attack, and everything that was about to happen to him is what led up to the heart attack. That fear, that growing fear in him, is what led to the heart attack. Now, so many years later, Judy finally decides to say Judy is a little bit off herself too. She's a little bit unhinged. She decides that she wants to take this anger out that she still harbors for Neil Prescott. She feel like it can't be completely gone until she takes out his daughter now. So she wants to take out Sidney. So she starts another killing spree. She starts going after Sidney's friends, of course, going after Gail, Dewey, and we end up finding out that it's Judy in the end of the film. She reveals to Sidney why. Sidney finds out that her father did in fact die from a heart attack, but there was more to it than that. Judy was the cause of the heart attack in a way, because she came over to that house to threaten his life, and she was in the process about to kill Neil Prescott, and that fear overwhelmed him so much that he had a heart attack. She explains to Sidney the process of how Neil was having an affair with Judy's mother. It's just a whole big emotional sequence. That's what I would do for Scream 5. We find out that Judy Hicks is the killer, and we find out some things about Neil Prescott and his backstory as well, and what actually led to him dying. That's what I would do for a Scream 5. And then that would all bridge into a Scream 6, where Sidney has now finally gone off the deep end, and she is the final Ghostface. And we end the series with Sidney being the final killer. Now, in regards to how Sidney becomes the killer, I'm going to save that for another video. But let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section below. I know it's kind of a little bit all over the place. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. In the description, I'll have links on my social media accounts, my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can message me there to let me know if there's any movies, news, or reviews you would like me to cover in the future. Now, with all that in mind, guys, I will see you in the next video. And in the description, or in the comment section rather, I will have a link to the Facebook group that I have started. This link to the Facebook group will be to the group where you can get updates on Jeepers Creepers and talk to the gentleman who is in contact with Victor Salvas named Stacy Langenkamp. There's an announcement post, he's tagged in it. If you want any updates on Jeepers Creepers, join this group. With all that in mind, guys, I will see you in the next video.